Here's some more tools I don't regret buying. Item number one is a good set of setup blocks. There are multiple companies that make these, but this one is from a company called iGauging. They're very reasonable in price for what you get, and it comes anywhere from 1/16 of an inch all the way up to 3 inches. And the great thing about these is you can stack them to make whatever measurements you need. If Imperial is not your cup of tea and you prefer metric, well, guess what? The same company also makes a metric version, and they go from 1 millimeter all the way up to 75 millimeters. I work in both Imperial and metric, therefore I decided to buy both sets. The only place I've been able to find the metric set is from a website called Pen Tool. However, the Imperial you can typically find on Amazon. Setup blocks can be used in a variety of different ways and on different tools, to include the table saw, the bandsaw, the router table, or just your standard plunge router are all just a few examples of where setup blocks can become very beneficial. Speaking of the router, let's talk about items 2, 3, and 4, which are all router bits. The first one I want to highlight is getting a good set of tongue and groove router bits, and for me, I prefer adjustable router bit sets. The set that I like the most, these are from Freud, and this is just the adjustable standard tongue and groove bit set. Very readily available, very reasonably priced. Why do I recommend adjustable bits as opposed to set bits? Well, because material thickness is always different. The reason why I like the adjustability of this router bit set so much is because it comes with the included spacers on the top that can be used to set the material thickness depending on what it is that you're using. We all know that plywood and different material thicknesses vary depending on where you're purchasing your material from. So having the adjustability to dial it in perfectly is really, really great, and they're very easy to adjust. Item number 3 is a good flush trim bit. If you're looking for a phenomenal flush trim bit, I would recommend one of these two. Each one's going to give you a little bit different capacity. Obviously, this one right here doesn't have as much of a cut capacity as this one does, but these are both white sides router bits, and they are from Bits & Bits Company, which is why you see they are darker here, because they have their proprietary Astra coating on them. This one is UDFT 5152, and this one is UDC 9112. This is the one that you always see people using, this big monster bit, just to give you an idea of how large it is. Both of these are spiral compression bits. These two bits here are going to give you way better results than something like this, which is a double fluted straight bit. This is not a flush trim bit, but you can get flush trim bits that are in this style. These are going to produce a much better cut and actually are going to be quite a bit safer to use because of the geometry of the cutting. Jonathan Katz-Moses has an outstanding video where he shows extremely slow motion of these bits cutting. If you want to learn more about the benefits to having a compression bit like this, I'll definitely leave a link to his video. But it really, really shows very clearly the benefits to, investing wisely in a very good bit like one of these. To finish off the router bits, I'll show you my most used router bit, and that is this 1/8" roundover bit. This is also from Bits. I believe you can get these all the way down to maybe a 1/16 of an inch. I'd have to look. And the smaller you go, the smaller the bearings that you can get to really get into, tight corners. For me, the benefit to this is it just gives that nice, subtle roundover on any of the edges on your materials. So if you don't want those super sharp edges, this is a great bit to use. The next item is lasers.
Frickin' laser beams!
Well, laser levels. I will tell you which ones I have. I have the Bosch Professional GLL40-20G, and I have the Bosch Professional GLL50-40G. Both of these lasers are green. I just like the green better. Imagine that. This one is primarily just a frontal and flank style laser, meaning nothing behind it is actually going to be illuminated, as where the reason I bought this one is because this one will be both frontal for the vertical beam, and it will actually be 360 degrees for the horizontal, which is really beneficial if you need to, get a perfect level around, say, 2 or 3 different walls. This will actually emit that laser all the way around at 360 degrees. It's how I hung up all my lumber racks. It's how I kept all of my lighting in my shop in a perfectly straight line. The laser level is, kind of a luxury item to have, I guess, for most people. But when you have one, you're going to find reasons to use it, and it's going to save you time, and that's what is really important. If you have one of the ETS 125 Festool sanders and you don't have this attachment, then you're completely missing out. I can sand edges very quickly, and I can round over corners if I want to. I can have the support, and if I wanted to do bevels, I could do that as well. However, the way that this works is I can put all of my pressure here on this pad, and I can easily sand the edges of a work surface, and I can do it all without me having to be worried that I'm going to, improperly balance the sander. At 99 bucks to add this attachment, which goes on very easily, simply one screw here and one screw right down there. You can take it off anytime you need to. It only takes a minute. Having the ability to edge sand and profile corners if I want to is very, very nice. The next item I actually have a dedicated video for, but I always get questions about it even though I already have a video on it, and that is the Jessem table saw stock guides. And basically what these are is an added safety feature. It's like adding a whole nother set of hands to your body because they really work well. And the way that they work is you basically just drop these down on the material, and that is now your reference. The wheels are actually off of it. You lock these down, and now I'm ready to make my cut. What's the benefit to this is that it's going to drastically reduce the possibility of kickback at the table saw. The other thing I want to point out as well, because the wheels are canted inward, as you push it through, it's drawing it into the fence. So even if you're off when you initially push it in, it will naturally guide that board back into the fence, keeping it up tight and stopping it from moving back. These are an amazing, amazing addition to add to a table saw. They are going to make the operation of using a table saw safer. They are very easy to use and get up and store out of the way. I cannot recommend these enough. If I was going to recommend any one thing that you should add to your table saw, if it's compatible with your table saw, is these stock guides. They also make them for the router table as well. While we're on the topic of safety at the table saw, I wanted to talk about another item. As you can see here, I have lots of different push sticks, push blocks. They all stay at my table, and I use different ones for different reasons. But let's take all of these away. But one that I really like a lot for not only the table saw, but also the jointer, also the bandsaw, the router table, is the gripper block. And there's a few things that I love about this. One, you can add auxiliary attachments to it. I love the angle of the handle. I love that it has this flat portion here that can reference up against the fence or be used in a vertical position, say if I'm going through the bandsaw. But I really love that it has these feet that drop out, because that can be that little added push that I need to get a board through something. Specifically, that comes in handy on the jointer. The other thing that I love about the gripper products is the material that they use on the bottom. I always find that I get way better grip, imagine that, with the products that they come out with than I do on some of these other products. So the micro jig gripper block, great for multiple tools, just all around great push block. The next item I want to talk about is the Woodpeckers clamp racket system. In my previous shop, I had a completely different setup in terms of clamp storage, which did work very nice, but it took up a very large footprint. The thing I want to point out here is this is 32 inches wide. I have over 50 clamps here. And of those 50 clamps, 18 of them are K-body clamps. You're able to get two different sizes. As you can see here, this is a very tall, does stick out a little bit further. Those are designed for this style of clamp. Then you have the smaller version, which can hold a variety of clamps, F-style clamps, uniclamps, trigger clamps. The big point that I want to make is that I'm able to now have a lot of clamps in a very, very small space. It's easy to install, and there are a variety of different sizes you can get. I have the 32, I think you can get a 24, I think you can get 12-inch add-ons. What's kind of genius about it is that the system is able to expand if you need it. But being able to have this many clamps in a very small space has really, really been a welcome addition in the new shop. Next two items are my air compressor and this switch. These are a result of questions that I had based on the last video where I was talking about the hose reel. So the first thing is I use a California Air Tools air compressor, and there's a very specific reason for that, and I'm going to show you here in just a moment. And to be clear, I know I will be asked, the one that I have is the 4610AC. But what this switch is this switch is my power source for the air compressor. So I don't have to bend over every time and turn this thing on. I can just walk over to the wall, I hit start, turns on my air compressor, and when I want to stop the air compressor, I hit the big, huge stop button. That's all this is. Multiple companies make them. I've used these on various tools. I've actually got one on my router table as well. What I want to show you real quick is why I chose the California Air Tools air compressor as opposed to some other brands that are out on the market. I previously had a Porter Cable pancake compressor. It was obscenely loud. I absolutely hated it, and I wanted to go with something a lot quieter. California Air Tools is known for much quieter air compressors. So I'm going to do a quick side-by-side comparison of the California Air Tools and also another recent purchase that I just made, which is the Roll Air Sustainer compressor, which is louder than my compressor that I have in the shop. What you're seeing on the left is the decibel reading of the California Air Tools air compressor, and what you're seeing on the right is actually the Roll Air Sustainer compressor. As you can see from this video, the California Air Tools air compressor is way quieter than even the small Sustainer air compressor. And I just want to highlight that both compressors are in the same location in the shop, and I'm recording the volume in the very center of my shop. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.